Hi, I'm Jorge Antonio Vallejos, and you're watching BlackCoffeePoet.com and the Black Coffee Poet YouTube channel. I am the Black Coffee Poet. Welcome to my spring reading list 2013. Yes, I'm wearing a toque because here in the city of Toronto, spring is fucking freezing. But, anyways, I've got books to keep me warm, and I'm sharing them with you. So, let's start off with some poetry. Um, this is a new poet to me, and she's possibly going to be a friend. Her name is Kelly Rose P. Flug Back, and her book is called These Burning Streets. I'm really excited to read this because Kelly is an activist. She's an anarchist. She just did 7.5 months in jail for burning a police car or something like that. She was part of those G20 things that happened a couple years ago. She's a resistor, but she doesn't just do it in person. She does it in poetry, and I like that because my writing is my activism, and I respect others who their writing is their activism also. So I'm excited to read this. Anne Shin, The Last Standing. Anne Shin is a local poet, and she's a woman of color, and this is her first book. Anyway, she's coming out with a new book in May, so why not start by reading her first book? I'm really excited about that. I think this is her first book. Let me see. Yes, there's no list of any other books. So her second collection is coming out at the end of May. I'm really excited about that. So I'm prepping myself with her first book, The Last Standing. Archive of the Undressed by Jeanette Lyons or Lyons. Jeanette runs the MFA program at the University of Saskatchewan. Her publisher sent me this book, and it's basically a sexy, sassy book of pinup and burlesque writings. I love burlesque. I love sexiness. I love sassiness. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy this book. Oh, a veteran, Joyce Carol Oates. Joyce Carol Oates is somebody that I respect. She's a fiction writer. She writes poetry. She writes essays. She's written like, I don't know, 55 or 70 books or something like that. She does not stop writing. She is a writer. Anyways, I found this in a used bookstore. The Time Traveler by Joyce Carol Oates. And she's also a boxing junkie, as am I. I actually wrote Joyce Carol Oates a letter a couple years ago, and she wrote me back. I'll actually show you that letter here. Um, this is the letter. She type wrote it for me, which was very nice of her. Uh, July 6, 2006. Dear Jorge Vallejos, thanks for your very interesting letter, review, and boxing coverage. You are quite right. The brief section on women boxers is inadequate in On Boxing, which was originally written in 1986. I would now speak of the remarkable Lucia Raikor. I would now. There is a brief list of books at the end of my book to which Jeffrey Ward's biography of Jack Johnson should be added. Your Condor's View commentary is particularly astute. You seem to have an instinctive grasp of both the subject and the elements of writing. Good luck, Joyce Carol Oates. Pretty damn cool. Anyways, so I'm excited to read The Time Traveler. There are some poems about boxing in here and just so many other things. And the cover is gorgeous. And actually, so is Joyce Carol Oates. She's older than that now, but anyways, she's a beautiful woman. Where water comes together with other water. Um, Raymond Carver, really important writer, one of the kings of short story, but also he's a poet, and I'm excited for this. I've read some other of his poems, but this is the first collection of his poetry that I will be reading. I've read his short stories, and I've read interviews with him and interviews about him. So this is going to be a pleasure. If you don't know Ray Carver, you better know him. Einstein's Cat by Zoe Landale. Don't know much about it. Her publisher sent it to me, so I'm going to read it. The Eel Ladder by Nancy Jane Bullis. Got this at Goodwill for $1.25 and in damn good condition. And the cool thing is that she writes a lot of prose poems, um, which I like. I like writing prose poems, like, you know, big long paragraphs and stuff like that. I love the title and I love the actual cover. I think this is that bridge that's down by Lake Ontario here in Toronto, and I'm excited to read that. The Long Dance by David A. Grew. Okay, David is an inspiration. David, I met David at the International Festival of the Authors in 2011. He's native. I've reviewed one of his books. You can look that up. And I interviewed him, and I have him on my YouTube channel, the Black Coffee Poet YouTube channel that you're watching now. And he's good. He's political, he's raw, he's honest. And this is his first book, I believe. He's now on book 5 or 6. The guy does not stop. Anyways, I'm really excited to read this. You can also read something I wrote about when I met him and hung out with him, and it's called The Brown Face, and you can find that on racialicious.com or on blackcoffeepoet.com. My Best Friend is White by Clyde Brooks. Clyde Brooks is part of the Dub Poets Collective. He's a writer of color. He is someone who is well respected, and I'm just really excited to read his book. White Shirt by Laurie McFadden. She's a queer writer from Edmonton, and she's very Bukowski-ish, and I love Charles Bukowski. She's raw and she's dirty, and I like that. So I bet you this white shirt would probably look like the cover if she was wearing it, because she's like that. I'll Be Right Back. New and Selected Poems, 1980 to 1996 by Tom Wayman. Tom Wayman is actually my favorite Canadian poet. I got to meet him at the Art Bar Poetry Series in Toronto a couple years ago. He signed one of my books and a book that I was borrowing from my friend Catherine. We took a picture together. Tom's cool. I'm really excited to jump into this book. He's just really talented and writes about working class and stuff like that. Cool stuff. Children of Ararat by Keith Gerbian. This is about the Armenian genocide. Keith is Armenian. Keith is queer. Keith is a fucking super cool writer. We're actually in an anthology together. Yeah, I got to meet him, and I am going to be featuring him soon. But anyways, the guy is good. Like, he's got props from Joy Kagawa, from Barry Callahan. You know what I mean? Like, this guy, he's been around for a long time, and I'm probably going to be reading and rereading this book and learning from Keith Gerbian. Let's move on to fiction. So, if you've seen previous reading list vlogs, you notice that I used to be on my bed and stuff like that. I'm trying something new. If you like the other format of what I used to do, let me know, where I'm sitting down and you can see like a shelf behind me and whatever. This is a little bit different, but anyways, we're working with it. Time to change things up, you know what I mean? Anyways, that's a reference. That's not fiction. So, reference. No, this is fiction. Sorry, we're on to fiction right now. Fat City by Leonard Gardner. Again, I said I'm a boxing junkie. This is a book that has a lot of boxing in it. When you talk about boxing novels, this is mentioned. So I'm very excited. Rumble Fish by S.C. Hinton. S.C. Hinton also wrote The Outsiders, which was also turned into a film, as with this. Look at the cover. There's a young Matt Dillon on there. Anyways, it's a very short book. I'll probably read this in one day. And, I write stuff about, like, rambunctious teens because I was one, so that might help me with that. Fresh Girls by Evelyn Lau, short fiction. I got to hear Evelyn Lau read at the Art Bar Poetry Series. I got to talk to her a bit, but I've read her poems. I've never read her fiction, and yeah, I'm really excited about this book. She was nominated for the Governor General's Award, not for this book, but she's made an impact on the Canadian literary scene, and she's a woman of color, and I support her. So. Okay, Carson McCullers, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. I've been wanting to read this book for a long time. Oprah said it's one of her favorite books. I saw it at Goodwill, bought it for $1.25 recently. I've been meaning to read it. It's supposed to be one of the best books on race ever. It's a novel, it's fiction, and supposedly her prose is gorgeous. So again, it's another book that I will be enjoying and studying. The Contender by Robert Lipstein. This is actually a YA novel. Anyways, I've been seeing this novel everywhere. I have the soft cover, but I saw this the other day at Goodwill. Bought it for $1.75. It's brand new. Anyways, it's a book that I've been wanting to read for a long time, and I'm excited. Robert Lipstein is a writer for the New York Times, or used to be a writer for the New York Times, so that's cool. I'm going to see a journalist writing fiction. So let's move on to memoir and essays. The Night of the Gun. Okay, so this is one of the top 100 books of whatever year it was for the New York Times. It's a guy who went on a major crack binge one night. Obviously, there's a gun involved, but he's also a journalist for the New York Times. And so this has like really good investigative reporting stuff. He did 60 interviews with people about when he was an addict, and then he wrote his memoir. So I'm really, really interested in this. And you can see there's a I don't know what bill that is. If it's an American bill rolled up, and that's how you sniff coke. So this is going to be interesting. A reporter investigates the darkest story of his life, his own. Cool. The Prisoner's Wife, a memoir by Asha Bandel. She used to be a big time writer for Vogue, I believe. Or I'm not sure even where, but she's backed up by Angela Davis. Angela Davis says, a powerful and provocative book. Everyone should read it. Nikki Giovanni, amazing female poet of color, says, "It is not easy to trust your heart, but here is a here is a love story. The Prisoner's Wife takes us through not the dungeon of emotions, but the sunshine of hope. If we can continue to find a reason to care, we can all be saved." This book needs to be read by anyone who has paid a price for love. I'm on it. Upside Down, a primer for the Looking Glass World by Eduardo Galeano. Eduardo Galeano is from Uruguay. He's one of the best writers in the world. He's just so respected. Back here, he's backed up by N. Scott Momaday, who's the only Native American to win a Nobel Prize. He's backed up by Isabel Allende, who's a very famous Chilean writer. Anyways, somebody that I'm building a friendship with, Chris, bought me this book. That's so kind of him. Thank you, Chris. We're going to be reading it and talking about it. And what's really interesting is one of the pieces in here that was used to write this book is by a Toronto Star writer, Antonia Gerbiage. Anyway, so that's pretty cool, really close to home. So I'm excited about reading this book by Eduardo Galeano. Essays. Erica Ritter. Is the writer of Urban Scrawl. She's a comedic essayist. It's very short, so I'm excited about that. And I don't read much humor, and I've got to do more of that just to kind of balance things out. So what are we going on to now? Okay, no, now we're gonna go on to motivational and spiritual. So the Lombardi Rules, 26 Lessons from Vince Lombardi, the world's greatest coach. Vince Lombardi took the Green Bay Packers to like 5 football, Super Bowl, whatever championships. And I'm really into stuff on motivation and discipline and building character and going for your dreams and stuff like that. This book is amazing. I've already started reading it. I'm almost done it actually. So, but it's on the list because I started reading it a while ago, but I'm not done it, so it's on the spring reading list. Anyways, I respect this guy, Vince Lombardi. Anne Lamott, Grace Eventually, Thoughts on Faith. Anne Lamott wrote one of the most recognized writing reference books called Bird by Bird. Anyways, she's a Christian and she's an open minded Christian. She's not one of them homophobe, transphobe, racist Christians. And so she writes about her life in terms of her faith. So I'm excited about that. I'm Here to Win by Chris McCormick. This guy's won I don't know how many Ironmans, and these types of books motivate me. Like, I'm a big walker, I walk a lot. I'm a writer, I'm a reader. So these books motivated me to just keep going for what I want to do in life. And I just love, I'm not someone who can run because I've got a disability. So I like at least reading about running. And that's the beauty of books. They take you on a journey. I can't run, but a book can take me on a running spree. Okay. Oh, one of the most controversial people in the world. Become a Better You, Joel Osteen. He's a pastor. He's got the biggest church in America. People hate him. People love him. I'm a find out for myself. And again, I'm sure I can take what I want out of this book and leave out what I don't want. So, thank you, Joel. Sacred Journey of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. Dan Millman is the author of Way of the Peaceful Warrior. So this is like the follow up. The first book was amazing. So I'm really excited to read this book. Dan Millman is spiritual. He's a martial artist. He talks about life, about love, about loss, and guy's awesome. So I'm really really excited about that. Okay. Last but not least, writing reference. So Poem Crazy, Freeing Your Life with Words, Susan Goldsmith Woolridge. I bought this book years ago from the Toronto Women's Bookstore. This is actually a bookmark from the Toronto Women's Bookstore. I really miss the Toronto Women's Bookstore. So, anyways, this is my connection to it via the bookmark, via one of the many books I have here that I bought there. And I want to start really doing poetry exercises, not just sitting down and writing about life things. I want these things challenge me. They're kind of hard sometimes, and I'm probably going to be meeting up with somebody who is my book buddy and writing buddy, Whitney French. I'm probably doing some of these, so I'm excited about that. And just go poem crazy. And then The Situation and the Story, The Art of Personal Narrative by Vivian Gornick. This book is about memoir, writing memoir, whether it's long length memoir or short length memoir. I have four memoir essays published, one in the Kenyon Review, one in Descant, one in Crave It, the anthology that Keith Garbian and I are in, and one most recently in the Yellow Medicine Review. And you can see videos of me reading all of those on my YouTube channel. Anyways, yeah, so check a look for the Bannock teaching. That's one of them. Embrace My Identity is another one. And whatever, if you want to know more, I can just email those to you. And right now I'm working on an essay for a conference about my favorite poet, Christos, and how she's helped me grow as a better person and a better poet. And so that's a short length memoir piece. And this book has helped. It's a great book, it's a great reference, and I'll be using it probably my entire life. So that's my spring 2013 reading list. I hope you've enjoyed. It is ambitious, but like I've said before, I read a poetry book in a day. Some of those novels I'll read in a day. The motivational stuff will take a little bit longer. Some of them are big. The Carson McCullers book will probably take longer. It's about 300-400 pages. But the aim is to read all of them, and if they don't, and if they're not read, they will spill over into other reading lists. So thank you very much for joining me. Please continue to watch the Black Coffee Poet YouTube channel and read and watch blackcoffeepoet.com. You can subscribe to both for free. And if you want to read a book with me, let me know. Email me at blackcoffeepoet@gmail.com and choose one of the books, and we can read them and do a little book study together on Skype or something like that. Or if you're in my city, we can meet up over coffee because I am the Black Coffee Poet. Peace out. Take care. Keep reading. Keep writing.